What's going on, folks? Ted from Immersion here, and I wanted to talk to you about the Kobold Press State of the Play article that came out last week. Basically, just their pledge that they will not be using AI in any of their products. And this comes from Wolfgang Bauer, the CEO of Kobold Press, and this is seemingly in response to Chris Cox, the CEO of Hasbro, coming out with his comments regarding AI, the stuff that we covered in a previous video about how, they're planning to use it liberally throughout, and it's and he said he doesn't know any D&D player who's not using AI in their games to some degree, and Kobold Press is coming out to make their statement about where they land on the usage of AI. Before we dive into the article from Kobold Press, though, something that I've been seeing a lot in the comments on any video that comes up regarding AI is I feel like a couple years ago, AI the general consensus was very anti AI to some degree. But I've started to see comments coming around the other way where some folks are more on board with it to some degree. They're okay with it as long as it's clearly stated that it is whatever the product might be that you're getting is built with AI. And I think a lot of the ethical issues that people have with AI is that for them to learn and grow and build, they're usually gathering materials, especially and when we're talking about art, where they're using other artists' art to build the model that then is used to generate the AI art, essentially stealing the art from those artists. But I think ultimately what it comes down to, and again, like I've seen in the comments, is what is AI? Like, years ago, I would have said when I heard AI, I would have thought like a synthetic human being, like a true artificial intelligence, not something that is kind of like I can spit things into it and it gives me something back, because it only has so much information, and there are other things that you could possibly consider AI depending on how you look at it. Like, is if I play a video game and it has a randomly generated dungeon that's randomly generated every time, is that an AI dungeon or is that just built into the code? Is autocorrect AI? I've seen people say yes and no to both. So to that point, I don't really know what truly is being defined as AI across everything, but I've seen people make arguments for both. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there, not necessarily to level set expectations one way or another, but just things that I've seen come up in comments that I thought might be an interesting thought experiment to put out there and get what people's kind of input is on that. So feel free to sound off in the comments down below what you consider to be AI, because you have things like Chat GPT and Mid Journey, which you give it a prompt and then it gives you a thing pulling from what it's learned. But my understanding for a lot of this is it has a base course of knowledge, and then when you build out prompts with it, that's what's giving you like what you put in is what you get out to some degree, versus like it's not a truly thinking entity, and it's based on like there's a thing going around with the strawberry analogy where they're like, how many R's are in strawberry, and it said two, and then the person said no, there's three R's in strawberry, and it comes back basically like, okay, there's only one R, not realizing that there's the first R part of strawberry. So like it's not great, and you're going to hear that in this article. So let's go ahead and dive into what Wolfgang had to say here. Both as Kobold Press CEO and a game designer, I'm pleased to say that Kobold Press's policy on AI is simple and direct. We don't use generative AI art, we don't use AI to generate text for our game design, and we don't believe that AI is a magical pixie dust that makes your tabletop games better. The term AI is simply everywhere in the news right now. It's in Dungeons and Dragons, it's baked into the new US Department of Defense drones, it's rejecting health insurance claims, creating phony travel guides, and judging unemployment insurance in Nevada. In many of those cases, it's clearly doing the job worse than humans. It's not the right tool for every job. Given its error rates in healthcare, such as medical imaging, it's barely the right tool for any job. We should be skeptical about AI snake oil. It's not useless, but it's also not miraculous. And in some places, it simply doesn't belong at all. And that, I think, is a pretty healthy aspect and mentality to go in, right? It's not a useless tool. I think there is uses for what we're talking about as AI, but it is also not a miracle cure to fix everything. And again, we're also, if you're watching this video 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the road, who knows, things may be drastically different, but here in 2024, where AI to this degree is in its infancy, who knows what the future will bring, but either way. Your brain is the generator. The staff at Kobold Press doesn't think AI belongs in generating art, role playing, or storytelling. Making your game your own is the heart of the RPG hobby, creating your world, your character, and your story with friends. Frankly, we've seen LLM text prompts work okay for chatbots, but we play RPGs to play with our friends, not software. Speaking of chatbots, I've seen that a bunch on like some of the most mundane websites where they'll have like an AI bot to answer, like you go to type in and like it's like bloop, it pops up like, hi, what do you need help with? Like a car dealership that was like local to me. When I went to their website, they had an AI like chat bot to like, hey, what are you looking for? And it'll just search the car inventory based on what you give it. And it's like local car dealerships are using AI to some degree as a chat bot, which again was referenced there. The Kobold policy against AI has been in place since the rise of Midjourney and similar tools in 2002. We looked at them, learned that they were trained on images that ripped off working artists and violated their copyrights, and rejecting them as unethical tools that require theft from creatives. Again, if you're unfamiliar, Midjourney is one of, if not the primary art tool for usage with AI. And again, as mentioned here, right, they're trained off of images, right? So if you tell it to generate a circle and it doesn't know what a circle is, it can't really figure it out. But if you say, okay, here's a bunch of images of circles, then it can use those to kind of formulate whatever kind of circle you're asking for. But if I put in an entire like slew of a bunch of paid creatives works that have copyrights into it, then when I say, hey, create me what a kobold looks like, and it's pulling from all of these people who did art on kobolds to generate this new kobold imagery, that's kind of what we're talking about here. So, art director Mark Rattle and the entire creative team are incredibly proud of the artists and cartographers who produce the amazing images, characters, creatures, maps, and scenes published by Kobold Press. We believe in their talent and their vision, and we plan to continue hiring artists to create Kobold Press covers, maps, and interior art to the highest possible standard. All bold, no AI generated art or maps are permitted in our game books. For game design, we hold the same position. Kobold Press believes in empowering players and game masters with tools, such as the upcoming Encounter Builder tool, that enable your game to run well. But the emphasis is on your game, not on a machine-generated GM or a set of prompts for a design built on LLM training on clear infringement of existing work. The spark of every GM's creativity doesn't glow any brighter with AI. All bold again, none of our game design is generated with AI, and we aim to keep it that way. Kobold Press believes the tabletop is about fueling everyone to do their own creation and have the joy of making something unique to them. Tabletop games connect players with original stories, and we aim to use human-designed, developed, and play-tested materials to strengthen every home game. It should always be fun and entertaining to host your own game nights. AI is not required to run your game and is not required to design it. If you support Kobold Press in this policy, please feel free to sign below and support. And if you scroll down, you'll see a variety of folks who've signed off here. And I think that last statement is probably a key, like a key one to clue in on. And I think you're right. AI is not required to run your game, and it is not required to design it. And obviously, we know that to be true, right? Because if AI was required to run and design your games, we would only have had Dungeons and Dragons in the past couple of years. So, like I said, a lot of it, you can go ahead and I'll have the link to this article down in the video description if you'd like to go pick up a copy. Geez, I'm so much set in a sponsor mode in my head. If you'd like to go ahead and sign the policy for yourself. And like I said, it's just interesting to see what people consider to be AI versus what other people consider to be AI. Because again, if I were to play a video game, that's not AI, but some people think it is if the characters can interact and react to like real time to player inputs. I don't know. So anyway, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I'll see you all next time.